let go of everything you've ever learned about death. It's all wrong. Here you'll realize that the versions you were told were distorted, limited, or simply incomplete. You're about to step into a field of ancient wisdom that's been hidden for centuries. A knowledge few were ever ready to understand, and that's why it remained concealed. But the chosen ones have always been ready for this level of awareness. There is a book that's over 200 years old, a sacred and restricted text that describes in detail what happens to consciousness during the 49 days following physical death. Far beyond dogmas or beliefs, it reveals that death is not the end. It's merely a vibrational transition. And more than that, it's a test. A test most people fail, simply because they don't know it exists. What this ancient manuscript reveals is profound and transformative. The journey after death doesn't depend on external deities, but on your inner preparation while you're still alive. And that's where many get lost, returning to the cycle of reincarnations without realizing it. Because death doesn't change who you are. It only reveals what you've spent your whole life avoiding. If you, as a true chosen one, feel ready to understand this level of knowledge, then write in the comments below. I am always ready for the truth. This hidden map of the afterlife is known as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This isn't about religion or blind faith. It's a symbolic and energetic manual, capable of guiding consciousness through the states between life and rebirth. And at each stage, a new challenge. Visions, mental trials, forms created by the soul's own vibration. All of this will be revealed in this video. This intermediate state is called the bardo, a space between worlds, where time, form, and matter no longer follow the same laws. But what most people don't know, and would even refuse to believe, is that the bardo isn't some Eastern fantasy. It's the mind's reflection when it disconnects from the body. It's the quantum field of consciousness, where everything you are manifests as visible reality. The bardo shows your truth with no filter. The first transition and the first trial in the bardo. The transition happens in silence. There's no more heartbeat, no more air flowing in. The senses dissolve. But something still remains. Consciousness. And it's in that exact moment, when the body dissolves, that the real journey begins. The soul awakens in a different frequency, as if coming out of a dream. Only this time, there's no turning back. This moment isn't confusing for everyone. The more awakened chosen ones recognize it instantly. It's okay, I've died, but I haven't ceased to exist. The disconnection from the body is just a shift in density. The form dissolves, but the information remains. The mind still thinks, still perceives, still feels, but in another plane. You don't disappear, you shift your vibration. And then it appears. A light so clear, so intense, it seems to dissolve the very notion of identity. It's the call of ultimate reality, a portal of unification with the all. If you recognize it and surrender, you merge with it and break the cycle of rebirth once and for all. This is the first doorway to liberation. But it only opens to those who do not fear what the ego sees as its own dissolution. The light doesn't judge, it simply is. Pure consciousness, original vibration. Here we can understand this moment as the collapse of the wave function. The soul had infinite possibilities, but only one resonates with the truth it built in life. The light reflects your inner state. And if you, chosen one, are not in harmony with it, you won't even be able to perceive it. This light has been described by many traditions as the sea of divine consciousness, the field of absolute clarity. In the deepest spiritual understanding, it is the ether, the fundamental substance that connects all things. Or, from the perspective of modern physics and various quantum theorists, It is the conscious quantum vacuum from which all energy and matter emerge. The chosen one who resonates with it dissolves into it. The ancients knew the all is not something to be reached, it is something to be remembered. But almost no one recognizes this light. Why? Because the soul hesitates, it feels fear, and instead of surrendering, it pulls back. And in that resistance, the first illusion is born. Fear clouds perception, and the mind starts searching for something familiar, something that brings a sense of safety. It is in that moment of resistance that the lower bardo, described in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, begins to form. The soul cries out for identity, for a name, for a story. It looks for familiar faces, unresolved desires, unfinished plans. But there's no more body. There is only vibration. And what once was the physical world will now become a mental hologram. Various major films like Star Wars, The Matrix, and others symbolically portray this exact moment of consciousness. Knowledge is power, and those who hold it know how to recognize a representation, even when it's subliminal. These projections are shaped by the individual consciousness. Everything that was not resolved, understood, or integrated in life now turns into scenery within the bardo. You see what you carry. You walk inside yourself. And most don't realize it, because they still believe they're seeing something external. But there is no more outside. There is only reflection. This is the first great trial, a trial the chosen ones must recognize. You are being tested. Everything that appears before you is a part of yourself, calling out for unification. Fear is the creator of forms, and the bardo is the mirror where every thought becomes a landscape. That's why one of the core flags of our channel says, "Your reality is a mirror." The journey through the bardo and the encounter with spiritual guides. The bardo has no floor, no ceiling, no clocks. It is a space where time dissolves and thought takes form. It's like dreaming, but lucid. Consciousness, without the body as an anchor, begins to manifest everything it carries in its essence. That's why what the chosen one sees in the bardo is themselves projected onto a living screen. Everything you've repressed, denied, or avoided appears before you. Some live paradises, others torment. But what everyone faces is the reflection of their own vibration. This phenomenon is understood today even by modern perspectives of reality, such as quantum mechanics. The mind is a field of vibrational information. What you vibrate, you collapse. The bardo is the quantum field of pure consciousness. Nothing there is physical, but everything is intensely real. And here comes the question every chosen one should ask right now. If I create my reality after death through what I vibrate, why not begin creating consciously while still alive? That question is the central purpose of this video. Because the journey through the bardo doesn't begin when you die, it begins when you awaken. Amid this ocean of mental forms, something subtle begins to emerge. Silhouettes of light, presences that don't speak in words but in vibration. They are the first guides. Many recognize them as masters, angels, divinities. Others feel only a deep peace, a sense of standing before something infinitely greater and familiar. These beings are not external. They don't come to judge you, nor to take you away. They are projections of your own higher spark, symbolic representations of your most elevated self. If you recognize them as part of you, something magical happens. You rise with them. You don't follow them. You become what they represent. These guides are archetypes of expanded consciousness. They appear in whatever form your soul is capable of understanding the light. Each one develops a different form. There is no right or wrong. Some will see them as Buddhas, others as star guides, some as mythological gods. But all of them have a single mission: to remind the soul that it is more than it believes itself to be. At that moment, a portal opens. The soul realizes it can cross over, that it can return to the source. But to do so, it must release fear. It must trust, not in something outside, but in what vibrates within. This is the second chance for liberation, and many chosen ones miss it because they hesitate, because they don't feel worthy of the light they carry. Spiritual enlightenment is not a utopia. It's a state of consciousness available to those who align with the All. What the bardo reveals is that there's no more time for doubt, because at the first sign of hesitation, the chosen one is pulled into the darkest moment of their journey, the second dark trial, and the lack of awareness. What was once light begins to distort. The brightness turns into shadow. Peace gives way to dread. Deformed beings, threatening voices, and scenes of pure terror begin to take shape. But none of this comes from outside. These dark entities are creations of the consciousness itself, and they appear as reflections of everything that has not yet been faced. Each horrifying figure represents an unhealed aspect of the ego: anger, envy, guilt, arrogance, fear. They take shape in the bardo because there are no more veils there. The soul sees what it hid from for an entire lifetime, and what hasn't been recognized as part of the self appears as an enemy. The monster is the trauma, disguised as a threat, but there is a secret key in this moment, and it is not found in resisting or fighting. It lies in recognizing. Recognizing that what stands before you was born within you, saying, "All of this is me, and that's why I can dissolve it." This is the beginning of true liberation. It is the courage to face the shadow without identifying with it. If the soul awakens this lucidity, the monsters vanish, the fear evaporates, the shadow returns to light. But if not, it sinks even deeper. It gets lost in illusions, and it is pulled back into the cycle of reincarnations, to try once again to learn how to reunite with the All. That is the mercy of the universe. There is always another chance to remember who you are. At this point, the chosen ones are called to truth. You are not being punished, you are being revealed. The journey through the bardo is the mirror of consciousness. Heaven or hell are internal vibrations, not fixed places. The true obstacle was never the bardo. It was never the monsters. The enemy lies in not knowing your own power. Those who live their lives trapped in materialism, in selfishness, in the illusion of separation, arrive in the bardo without a map, without a compass. And because they don't know what they are, they get lost in what they created. That's why, if you're hearing this now, declare your choice. Comment below. I recognize the illusion. The chosen ones must break free from this vision. We must abandon the illusion that we are separate from the All, to see the divine pulsing in every atom of everything and everyone, in every phase, in every moment. This is the co-creator consciousness that sets you free, because you only thrive in the visible world when you have conquered the invisible. Preparation in life, the untold secret. The truth that few dare to speak is this: you can cross the bardo with clarity, but only if you begin preparing while you're still alive. This is the turning point. It's not about fearing death, it's about understanding existence. And more than that, remembering what has always been within you. Because the awakened soul does not get lost. The bardo is not a chaotic nightmare reserved for a few. It is a cosmic mirror, a space where the being comes face to face with its own vibrational frequency. That's why it's not some insurmountable mystery. In fact, it's the path back to the all. And to move through it with awareness, you only need to recognize what you've always been, a spark of the all. The preparation exists, and it's available right now. Want examples? Meditation, breath work, connection with nature, various therapeutic approaches, Reiki, family constellation, dowsing, and countless other techniques for energetic cleansing and self-knowledge, shadow work, inner alchemy, studying archetypes, raising your vibration through music, silence, art, intention. I could go on for hours. These are all tools, each with its own uniqueness, all fulfilling one single purpose: to refine your consciousness so you can learn to navigate subtle realms and recognize the truth when it appears. It's no coincidence that ancient alchemists spoke of the great work. They weren't trying to turn lead into gold, as you were probably taught, but to transform ego into spirit. Their practices were symbolic ways to cross the bardo while still alive. They knew that by mastering the inner elements, the soul would become capable of traveling through any dimension with clarity. This is the secret that the modern world has dismissed, but that the chosen ones are now rediscovering. Because true alchemy is vibrational, and spiritual preparation is not superstition. It is the energetic science of consciousness. As the hidden wisdom says, the preparation begins now. Every practice that raises your vibration teaches you how to recognize the light. Understand this. You're already in the process. The dimensional shift is underway. The Earth's frequency is rising. Whether you want it or not, whether you believe it or not, everything around you is changing. And what defines your path is how much you, as a chosen one, are willing to change on the inside. Now, today, in this very moment. So here's the calling. The chosen one doesn't wait for death to seek the light. They choose to become the light now. That is the mission of the Zenithers. If you feel this truth vibrating in your chest, declare to the universe that you are ready. Comment below. Awaken here so I won't get lost there. If you leave this final comment, I'll take a moment to meditate and intuitively choose another video from this channel that holds the exact message you need right now. I'll reply to your comment with the link to that video. And remember, you are not here to find a purpose. You are the purpose experiencing itself. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope to see you in the next video. A life of infinite possibilities awaits you.